The Galactic Council had explored more than 12,000 intelligent civilizations. Some species had mastered time. Others had conquered gravity. Many possessed weapons powerful enough to erase entire star systems. Yet one civilization continued to confuse every scientist in the galaxy. Humanity. Not because humans were the strongest. Not because they were the smartest. But because nothing they did made sense. They fought wars, then rebuilt the cities they destroyed. They argued endlessly, yet sacrificed everything for strangers. They knew they would die someday, yet still dreamed of building a better future. Every simulation failed. Every prediction collapsed. The Council's greatest supercomputer finally reached a conclusion. Human behavior cannot be explained through logic alone. That answer was unacceptable. So the Council approved the most ambitious social experiment in history. Dr. Elyra. The galaxy's most respected xenobiologist. She had spent 3 centuries studying alien cultures. She had never failed a mission. Her assignment sounded simple. Travel to Earth. Live as a human. No advanced technology. No communication with home. No special privileges. 7 days. Observe everything. Return with the truth. Elyra smiled confidently. 7 days will be more than enough. She was wrong. Her shuttle landed before sunrise on a quiet farm in northern Earth. The disguise technology transformed her silver skin into human flesh. Her glowing eyes became soft blue. Her translator chip adjusted automatically. To everyone around her, she was simply another young woman. Her equipment disappeared beneath ordinary clothes. The mission had begun. The Council expected her to visit laboratories, government buildings, military installations. Instead, the first thing she encountered was an old farmer repairing a broken fence. He noticed her standing alone. "You look lost," he said with a gentle smile. Before Elyra could invent an excuse, the man removed his gloves and offered his hand. "I'm Thomas." She hesitated. Her database warned against unnecessary physical contact. Humans called it a handshake. She slowly reached out. Thomas laughed. "Relax. I'm not going to bite." For reasons she couldn't explain. She laughed too. It was the first unplanned action of the mission. Thomas and his wife, Mary, invited her into their small farmhouse. The house was old. The roof leaked in one corner. The furniture had clearly been repaired many times. Nothing matched. Nothing was expensive. Yet every wall held family photographs. Children. Grandchildren. Birthdays. Graduations. Memories. Mary served breakfast. Fresh bread. Scrambled eggs. Homemade jam. She apologized. "I'm sorry it isn't much." Elyra secretly analyzed the meal. It contained fewer nutrients than military rations aboard Council ships. Yet, everyone smiled while eating. They joked. They laughed. They interrupted one another with stories. No one checked a screen. No one rushed away. Breakfast lasted nearly an hour. Her recorder quietly stored another observation. Observation 1, humans value shared moments more than efficiency. According to galactic standards, that was irrational. Yet somehow, it felt right. Later that afternoon, Elyra walked through the nearby village. Children played soccer in a dusty field. One little boy tripped and scraped his knee. He cried. Before his own parents could reach him, 3 other children helped him up. One dusted off his clothes. Another handed him a bottle of water. A third simply stayed beside him until he stopped crying. No reward. No command. No obligation. Just kindness. Elyra froze. Among advanced civilizations, compassion had become regulated. Citizens helped because law required it. Here, children helped because they wanted to. She whispered into her recorder. Empathy appears instinctive. That single sentence would later shake the entire Galactic Council. As evening approached, dark clouds gathered above the valley. A violent storm rolled in. Power lines snapped. Electricity disappeared across the village. The council had predicted panic. Instead, neighbors grabbed flashlights. Families checked on elderly residents. Teenagers carried generators through heavy rain. Someone started cooking for everyone using a wood stove. Within an hour, the entire community had become one family. No government orders. No military command. No central authority. Just ordinary people helping one another. Standing beneath the rain, Elyra felt something unfamiliar. Admiration. She had studied thousands of intelligent species. None behaved like this. Not one. That night she transmitted her first encrypted report to the Galactic Council. It contained only one sentence. Humans are not irrational, they operate using variables our science has never measured. The Council dismissed the message as emotional contamination. They ordered her to remain objective. Continue observing. Return after 7 days. Elyra looked out the farmhouse window. Inside, Thomas was teaching his grandson how to repair an old radio. Mary quietly knitted a blanket for a neighbor's newborn baby. Outside, rain continued to fall. Yet the house felt warmer than any advanced habitat she had ever known. For the first time in her 300-year career, Dr. Elyra wondered if the experiment was changing the observer. More than the species being observed. On the second morning, Dr. Elyra expected to resume her scientific observations. Instead, Thomas handed her a pair of worn leather gloves. "We're fixing Mrs. Wilson's barn today," he said. Elyra looked confused. "Did she hire you?" Thomas laughed. "No. Then why are we helping her?" "Because she needs help." That answer made no logical sense. Mrs. Wilson wasn't family. She wasn't paying anyone. There would be no reward. Yet by sunrise, nearly 30 people from the village had gathered outside her collapsing barn. A carpenter brought lumber. A mechanic repaired broken farm equipment. Teenagers climbed onto the roof despite the summer heat. Someone cooked lunch for everyone. No one argued over who deserved credit. No one demanded payment. By sunset, the barn stood stronger than before. Mrs. Wilson stood silently in the doorway, tears running down her face. "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." Thomas smiled. "You already have." "When?" "You helped my family 20 years ago after our house caught fire." Mrs. Wilson shook her head. "I barely remember that." "We don't. We remember kindness." Elyra wrote another observation. Observation 2, humans treat kindness as an investment that expects no return, yet somehow always returns. On the third day, Elyra visited the village school. Children were drawing pictures of what they wanted to become. Astronauts. Doctors. Teachers. Artists. One little girl handed Elyra her drawing. It showed Earth surrounded by dozens of alien worlds. The little girl smiled. "When aliens visit someday, I hope they're lonely." Elyra blinked. "Lonely? So they can find friends here." For several seconds, the scientist couldn't speak. Every military report described humanity as dangerous. Every strategic analysis warned that humans were unpredictable. Yet the first child she met imagined aliens not as enemies, but as guests who might need a friend. Her recorder captured a sentence she never expected to say. Perhaps innocence is humanity's greatest intelligence. That afternoon, disaster struck. A school bus carrying 14 children lost control on a mountain road after a tire exploded. The bus crashed through a wooden guardrail and stopped halfway over a steep cliff. Panic spread through the village. Without waiting for emergency services, people ran. Farmers, teachers, mechanics, teenagers, even elderly residents. Everyone rushed toward the accident. Thomas tied a thick rope around his waist. If the bus slips. Mary grabbed his hand. You'll fall with it. I know. Then don't go. Thomas smiled softly. If those children were ours, wouldn't we pray someone else would? Without another word, he climbed onto the unstable bus. Others followed. The entire vehicle shook beneath their weight. One by one, they carried frightened children to safety. When the last child stepped onto solid ground, the bus finally broke free. It disappeared into the canyon below. A deafening crash echoed through the valley. Thomas collapsed onto the grass, exhausted but smiling. Every child had survived. Elyra stared in disbelief. According to galactic psychology, no intelligent being willingly risks death for unrelated individuals. Humans had just proven the entire theory wrong. That evening she attempted to write her official report. Instead of scientific measurements, she found herself describing emotions. Hope. Trust. Love. Sacrifice. She deleted the report 3 times. None of it sounded scientific. Yet it was the truth. On the 5th day, her communicator finally activated. The Galactic Council appeared as glowing holograms. Elyra, you have become emotionally compromised. Prepare for extraction. She looked around the farmhouse. Thomas was teaching his grandson how to repair a bicycle. Mary hummed quietly while baking bread. Outside, children laughed as they chased butterflies across a field. Elyra answered calmly. My research is incomplete. You have observed enough. No. I've only begun to understand them. The Council's Supreme Chancellor spoke. Humans are primitive. They are emotionally unstable. They solve problems through instinct rather than logic. They are beneath us. For the first time in 300 years. Dr. Elyra interrupted the Chancellor. No. We are beneath them. Silence filled the communication channel. No one had ever spoken to the Council that way. You have exactly 48 hours. Return voluntarily. Or a retrieval fleet will collect you. The transmission ended. That night, Elyra sat alone beneath a sky filled with stars. She looked toward the constellation where her home world orbited. It had been centuries since she felt homesick. Now, she wasn't sure where home actually was. Behind her, the farmhouse door opened. Thomas walked outside carrying 2 cups of tea. You look worried. She smiled faintly. My family wants me to come home. Thomas nodded. Sometimes home isn't just where you're born. It's where people would miss you if you left. Those simple words echoed inside her mind long after the conversation ended. For the first time, Dr. Elyra realized that after only 6 days, someone on Earth would actually miss her. And deep inside, she knew she would miss them too. She looked up at the stars one last time. Then she whispered the sentence that would change the history of the galaxy forever. I'm not going back. The seventh sunrise arrived in silence. The village looked peaceful. Children chased each other through the fields. Farmers worked the land. Mary baked fresh bread, filling the farmhouse with its familiar warmth. Only Elyra knew it might be the last peaceful morning Earth would ever see. At exactly 9 o'clock. The sky changed. The clouds stopped moving. Birds fell silent. Then, without warning, a massive silver vessel emerged from the atmosphere. It wasn't merely large. It was a floating city. Nearly 5 kilometers wide. Its shadow swallowed the entire valley. Across Earth, satellites detected thousands of identical warships appearing in orbit. Television broadcasts stopped. Military bases entered emergency alert. Governments prepared for the first contact they had dreamed about for centuries. But this wasn't diplomacy. It was a retrieval mission. A beam of blue light descended into the center of the village. From it stepped 12 armored officers of the Galactic Council. Their armor shimmered like liquid metal. Behind them walked the Supreme Chancellor himself. Every human instinctively backed away. Everyone. Except Thomas. The old farmer calmly stepped in front of Elyra. "She's family," he said. "If you're here to hurt her, you'll have to go through us." The Chancellor looked almost amused. "You intend to challenge an interstellar civilization?" Thomas shrugged. "Doesn't matter how big you are. You don't abandon family." One by one, the villagers stepped forward. Teachers. Mechanics. Children. Doctors. Elderly couples. No weapons. No armor. Only ordinary people standing shoulder to shoulder. Elyra felt something she had never experienced before. They were risking their lives. For her. The Chancellor addressed her. "Dr. Elyra. Return immediately. You have violated Council law." She took one slow step forward. "I completed my mission." "Then submit your findings." "I will. But not the report you expected." The Chancellor folded his arms. "Explain." Elyra looked toward the villagers before speaking. "I came to study humanity. I believed intelligence was measured by technology. I believed civilization was measured by efficiency. I believed emotions were weaknesses." She paused. "I was wrong." The officers exchanged uneasy glances. She continued. "Humans possess something no advanced civilization has managed to preserve. They still choose compassion over convenience. They protect strangers. They forgive mistakes. They create families from people who share no blood. They know life is short. And that knowledge makes every moment priceless." The Chancellor replied coldly. "Emotions create conflict. They also create courage," Elyra answered. "They create loyalty. They create hope. And hope cannot be manufactured." Silence spread across the valley. Then the Chancellor asked the question every scientist aboard the fleet wanted answered. "What makes humanity superior?" Elyra smiled. "It isn't their intelligence. It isn't their strength. It isn't their technology. It's this." She turned toward Thomas. "If tomorrow every human city disappeared, they would build another. If disaster destroyed their homes, their neighbors would rebuild them. If they lost everything, they would still share their last piece of bread. No machine can calculate that. No equation can predict it. And no empire can conquer a civilization that refuses to stop caring." For several seconds, no one spoke. Then something extraordinary happened. One of the council officers removed his helmet. Then another. Then another. For centuries they had hidden behind duty and logic. Now, for the first time, many looked at humans not as primitive creatures, but as teachers. The Supreme Chancellor slowly lowered his head. The Council has spent 10,000 years pursuing perfection. And in doing so, we forgot how to live. He turned toward his fleet. Cancel the extraction. A stunned officer objected. But sir, the mission is complete. Months later, the Galactic Council released a document to every known civilization. It contained only one sentence. Humanity is not the galaxy's most advanced species. Humanity is the galaxy's reminder of what every advanced species has forgotten. From that day forward, universities across hundreds of worlds required every future diplomat, scientist, and military commander to spend 1 week living on Earth. Not to teach humans, but to learn from them. Thomas and Mary never became famous. They never knew their kindness had changed the galaxy. To them, Elyra was simply the quiet young woman who had stayed in their spare bedroom for a week. Every year, she returned. Not as a scientist. Not as an observer. But as family. When people asked where she came from, she simply smiled. I traveled across the stars looking for the most intelligent civilization in the galaxy. And I found it. Sharing homemade bread around a small wooden table.